As we enter the new year, many thoughts start to appear in our minds. We make New Year's resolutions and set higher goals, but we aren't the only ones.
As President-elect Trump starts to settle in and as Congress starts to prepare for a new presidency term, they all face one question.
What is the most urgent issue for the new president and Congress to address in 2017?
Everyone has different ideas and opinions on this question, but we believe that the most urgent issue is middle-class taxes, and here's why.
According to CNN, middle class is a social group between the upper and working classes, including professional and business workers and their families. Households of middle class earn around $47,000 to $141,000 per year, meaning that they are between in-debt and wealthy. Another way to determine if someone is in middle class range is how much money they spend a year.
Middle class spends around $130,000 a year just on food to supply for a household. They also spend over $150,000 just on housing. But why does this matter? Well, if someone spends more money than they have, then it will be difficult to pay off other taxes and fees. And even if money is being saved, lots of families could still struggle to pay for things, which would include taxes.
Type of proposals for the middle class Americans, you don't agree with any of them?
No, I agree with them, but they should be financed by reductions in spending, not increased taxes at a time when this government is taking more from taxpayers than it has ever taken in its entire history. As a percentage of the GDP of the nation's economy, we are well above the 40-year average in the revenues that are being extracted out of the economy. Tax increases are not the answer. Tax increases are part of the problem. If more and more spending, higher and higher taxes, more and more burdensome regulations were the path to prosperity, well, my God, we should now be living in an economic golden age. The fact is these policies don't work. They have never worked. They have suppressed what should have been a robust recovery. It's been estimated that if this recovery had mirrored the Reagan economic recovery, where he cut the tax and regulatory burdens on the nation, we would have millions more Americans working today and earning thousands and thousands of dollars more per family.
Of course, not all middle-class taxes are terrible or a struggle, but some definitely are. One thing that middle class struggles with is health care. The Affordable Care Act, which is working pretty well, has one issue which has been a struggle for average Americans to afford. Many have been paying extra money to help people with pre-existing conditions who didn't already have insurance. And not only do they have to pay extra money towards their health care, many have also been made to switch doctors and insurance because of the Affordable Care Act.
That Obamacare, he said, is the craziest thing in the world, where people wind up with their premiums doubled and their coverage cut in half. And he had a rough night when he went home that night, I will tell you. But he was telling the truth. It's one of the most important reasons why we have to win on November 8th, repeal and replace Obamacare. Have to win. You can't go on like this. You can't, in so many ways, but you can't go on like that with respect to affordable, you know, they call it affordable health care. The Democratic governor, by the way, of Minnesota said affordable health care is no longer affordable, which is true. Change has to come from outside our corrupt and broken system.
Another tax that middle class struggles with is property tax. Property tax is difficult for most families to afford. For example, if you had an assessed home value of $500,000, then your property tax would be around $8,000. The problem with this is that most people would wish to have it be lowered and do not agree with Wisconsin's percentage. So, basically, people in Wisconsin have to pay around 1.9% of their assessed home value and pay towards property tax. And it is difficult for most families to be able to afford this, which is another reason why families move into smaller or less valuable homes. Trump's plan is to lower the cost of property tax, and many other families agree. The problem isn't to eliminate property tax, but to lower it.
Income tax is definitely one of the hardest taxes for most Americans to be okay with. Although many realize the taxes are needed, many wish that they were lower. The federal income has 7 tax brackets: 10%, 15%, 28%, 25%, 33%, 35%, and 39.6%. The amount you owe depends on your filling status and income level, but moving to a higher tax bracket does not mean that all of your income will be taxed at a higher rate. Only the money that you earn inside a particular tax bracket is going into that particular tax rate. In 2015, it was surveyed that about 57% of Americans who pay income tax feel that it is too high, and 37% feel that it is about right, but nobody surveyed that it was too low.
5 major types of business taxes are corporate franchise tax, employment tax, excise tax, gross receipt tax, and value-added tax. Trump's vision states he is planning to eliminate special interest to create more opportunities and make our business tax rate more competitive to keep in jobs in America. His plan is to reduce business tax rate from 35% to 15%. This will be available to all businesses that want to continue to have the profits within the businesses, but businesses that pay a portion of an employee's child care expenses can only deny those payments from the money the employee receives. Overall, we feel like the most important issue that the President and Congress should address is middle-class taxes.
To be more specific, the Congress and new president should focus on property tax, income tax, sales tax, and healthcare tax, or more specifically, the Affordable Care Act.
We realize that every minor issue we addressed will not be solved or fixed, and after looking into how to fix them, we realize that it is not possible for it to happen overnight. But we do realize that middle-class taxes are the most important issue for the President and Congress to address in 2017.